Amy was born in South Korea. Her poetry and fiction have appeared in the Portland Review, Sport Press, and Haggard and Halloo. Haggard and Halloo is really interesting. If you haven't checked it out, check that out. And her latest book is titled Cramped Uptown. There are a few copies here for sale. She lives in Uptown Portland and is cramped. She's currently working on a memoir, and I'm so pleased that she's here to share her stuff with us. Amy Temple Harper.
Thank you so much, Christopher, and thank you for having us here, Cover to Cover Books. I'm going to try to move this up slightly. The first time I read poetry aloud happened to be in Portland, and he is the first person to encourage me after I read. So he was new to town, and I was new to poetry. And I think we formed that bond just because of mutual support and respect. And I also asked him to read a poem during my wedding, which he did. And I don't know what they call this, but coincidence? Today's Valentine's Day, and Tony Partington and Christopher Luna are engaged. And so this is a very special day. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. This is a great book, by the way. This is Wind Wing by Tony Partington. This one is called Nativity. There must have been a war going on during my hard birth. I imagine your hands bloody and your forehead damp as you struggled alone, silent with a slippery parcel that screamed murder under the autumn sky. You wrapped the baby up in newspapers bound with twine and laid her not in a manger, but in the garbage. She whined and then grew silent. The night sky wrapped the baby in a black shroud. No star appeared overhead. You stole away, your guilt, the only precious keepsake, cradled close to your heart. I'm writing a lot of poems having to do with dreams, and I have a broadside, I think, over there somewhere.
Yeah, put it on the shelf with the books.
Okay, yeah, so there's a broadside. Feel free to take one. This one has no title. Sometime in the small hours of the morning, her dreams would tell her who she was. Sometimes she was Liza Minnelli, stepping over a cool stream, stone by stone, pretending delight, but raining hot tears and catching her false eyelashes as they trailed behind her. Sometimes her dreams were so deeply sexual that making them out became impossible. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry or have an orgasm, so she usually did all three. This one is for Cloudy October. This is called There Is No Love. There is no love to explain why 60 seconds make a minute. No love to explain why a pen will run out of ink during a moment of inspiration. There is no love to explain why a woman can't write like a man, or why a man can't understand a woman's writing from a so-called feminist perspective. There is no love to explain why Tutti Frutti is both tutti and fruity, or why the Big Bang Theory exploded and fell apart, and the string theory replaced it. At the very least, we can't explain any of these things in this poem, because there is no love to explain why 60 seconds just made a minute. This is my to-do list. Pet the cat. Feed the diary. Read the floor. Clean the telephone. Answer the plant. Water the fan. Turn on the bed. Make the TV. Watch the chair. Sit on the fire. Light the smoking gun. Shoot. Mindless fuck. The secret tell-told smile died on frozen lips, and bumps of goose flesh raised on brazen hips. Misty emitted from your mouth when it fell from noiseless tongue, and your gaze turned westward with the numbness of your thrust. It shattered every rung on the ladder of shivering lust. One stroke of want, evening for another. Lay it down, lay it on, and slowly take your lover. This one's called Approaching Intimacy. If only you knew me, you would know that sometimes instead of craving you, I crave chocolate. Although the way you hold me so softly, I might break into squares of darkness. And the way you kiss me is creamy and smooth, a richness that melts any reserve. Oh, if you knew me, you would know that only big bites of you can satiate this secret longing. You taste bitter and sweet, and sometimes you are nutty. I will only regret this later. This one's called Richard Nixon's phone number. 323-656-3605. I called for you, Richard Nixon, at the Whittier, California Burger King. You were not frying the fries nor flipping the burgers. Instead, you were stealing secrets from the flame-broiled recipe. They finally located you in the John, a classic case of you not being a crook. You were adding spice to this toilet bowl. You were a stainless steel chef. You were $1 million baby. The diplomat of logistics. The specter of our infancy. This one's called Private. Be all over me if you could, all at once and in its entirety, palms touching palms, feet touching feet, noses touching noses, knees touching knees, privates touching privates. Need I go further? You get the picture. My biggest turn on. I don't best recall why I let myself do it. I get out of bed and turn on the light, just to see if I forgot anything. I didn't. Then I go back to bed. But I forgot to turn off the light. So I get out of bed and turn off the light. Then I get back in bed. But then I can't seem to remember why I got out of bed in the first place. So I have to get out of bed to turn on the light to see if I remember. It must be nothing because I can't remember if it was or not. So I get back in bed. It sure is bright in here. So I get out of bed to make it dark. That is when I get afraid. I know I forgot something, but it's dark in here, so I can't seem to think. So I get out of bed to turn on the light, and that is when I remember what it is. I remember that I am going crazy. That is when I remember to take a Valium and go to sleep. When you said it was over, did you mean that we can't meet for coffee? When you said it was over, did you mean that we can no longer wander out of the forest naked and enter a cool stream on a hot day and then lay on the grass and explode? That we can no longer walk in the graveyard among the dead and make love to trees and other people's ancient memories? That we can no longer meet at dawn when the moonbeams choke the sunbeams with sinewy arms of transparency? That we can no longer collide with our lips and grasp with ferret-like hands an approximation of passion? That we can no longer gaze through shady smoke of the shady kind and meet with eyes of small understanding? That we can no longer curse each other late at night with our backs towards each other and barely touching? That we can speak under our breaths about slights, real or imaginary? Not. Or when you said it was over, did you simply mean that we can't meet for a latte? loneliness. Lover, don't come out today. Stay home under the covers and whisper to yourself sweet nothings. Okay, these are just a series that I wrote. Objectivity is the fault of no others. I would like to be home soon. Sleep is the reward and punishment of the guilty. Light is the gift and curse of the knowing. Mirrors reflect and confuse the truth we cannot see. Curtains can both reveal and hide mysteries. A smile can only be revealed in the eyes. Faith can only save us and damn us. The righteous are always wrong. If you repeat after me, it will sound different. Forgive me. This is called The Poetic God. The poetic God is one who said it would all be good if we just behaved ourselves. This one is for you. Is it B. Pecos? Pecos B. I saw a read last night. It was phenomenal. So this you'll probably understand. Upon seeing Walt Curtis at Sheridan's grocery store. April 29th, 2009. I caught you head down among the squashes and oranges. You were one of a row of apples, bruised and blemished. No Walt Whitman here. No Allen Ginsberg either. I know how you feel about cabbage. I feel it too. When I spoke to you, you jumped like a deer, grazing nervously. A flash of paranoia when we locked eyes, not of recognition. But like you had been caught stealing. Not vegetation, but thoughts. How is it that we never see what we hope to see? When you left, you shuffled out empty-handed. Your shoulders sunk down, but your head held high. Thank you.